I'm excited to try to kick my pregnant best friend's ass at this race. I'm starting beef. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Running Rants with Helen. As always, I'm Helen, and this is where I rant and talk about whatever I want. Today, I'm back home in Truckee. We're running in Tahoe Donner, one of the neighborhoods, and yeah, I signed up for another race this weekend, which means I will have raced 3 races in 3 weeks, and that's usually a bit much, but I kind of just wanted to talk about that and my reasoning behind it, and yeah, I guess why. So my last video, I was recapping Cerro Gordo, and then, so that was the first race, and then the next Saturday, I ran Marin Mile, which I went over the format in that video, but pretty much just a whole day of mile races. And my goal was to break 5. I didn't. I ran 5:08, which, I don't know. Obviously, I wish I broke 5, so I would never have to do that again. But I'm also pretty happy with running 5:08 for how much specific training I did for that, which I think was none. So I'm still faster than all my middle schoolers, and it's still a PR, so I feel like you can never be mad about a PR. But yeah, other than, well, I think the only other time I had ever raced a mile was high school. So at least I'm faster than high school, Helen. And yeah, not training specifically for it, but maybe next year I will. And then I'll break 5, and then I can be done. And my grandparents came to watch, and I think we convinced my grandpa, who's 80 years old, to sign up next year. My grandma texted me this morning that he went in for a run, so he's training for the She's already abbreviated it. And Jacob also ran too, so that was fun. And then, yeah, honestly, Jacob was supposed to run the Silver State 50K this Saturday, which is in Reno. They also have a 50 mile and a half marathon. And Rick, my coach, texted me and said, do you want to run the Silver State half? Or you can do a workout. Or he said, or no worries, if not, you can just run a workout. And I'd rather go run a race. Also because that morning I was thinking, what am I going to go do while Jacob runs a 50K? I don't know, sometimes I try to run when he's racing, but then I get stressed that I'm going to miss the finish. So I think it'll be better that I'm racing anyways. So I'm excited about that. But I would say I'm not normally a race all the time kind of gal, because I feel like there's like a certain amount of like want to try hard that I have, and I feel like races kind of use it up. And yeah, I'd say generally I usually space out my races kind of far, but I think like with more low-key stuff, it's like good for training. It breaks it up a little bit more, and I feel like that's good for me. And then also it gives me like an opportunity to practice race stuff, like even if it's just like eating breakfast or racing at a different time. Like Marin Mile didn't start until like almost 6 p.m. And so you get used to like, okay, I'm nervous all day or whatever, and like what I should eat. I feel like sometimes like, I don't know, I didn't really have any like big races from like September until February, and then I didn't race from February until a few weeks ago. And so yeah, I think it's good to like get used to doing all of those things again. Also, I get pretty nervous, like kind of no matter what, and I think like running more low-key races like reteaches me how to handle that, especially when like there is no pressure and no stress. Because I think it's kind of hard. I mean, Tarawera was fine, but I think it's kind of hard when you go straight from like not racing to racing like a pretty big or a pretty competitive race. So sometimes it's just nice to practice those things. And I don't know, I've said it before, like I think that I'm able to get more out of myself during races than I am during workouts. Like I don't think I would necessarily go run 5:08 like on a track by myself, which also I think more specifically with the Marin Mile, that was really good for me because first of all, showing up to like a track race in a full pro kit when you're a pro trail runner and not that good at track stuff is so embarrassing but so funny. So I don't know, that's probably good for me. And also, I don't know, I usually go out too hard and I like leading races, and I started that race in last and I did not get last. So I feel like even though it was only a mile, it was like a good exercise in like moving up the field and like, no, I don't need to lead from the second the race starts. And I guess just that like it keeps it fun too. Like I recognize that this is coming from a very privileged perspective where I have a travel budget and a sponsor to pay for my races, and also I live in a place where like all of these races are kind of just like so easily accessible. Like even Cerro Gordo was only like a 5-hour drive, and then like Silver State is 30 minutes from where I live, and then my next race will be Broken Arrow, and even that is like a 15-minute drive from my house. And so that also makes it really easy. I also have like the freedom in my schedule to be able to race and go kind of wherever I want, whenever I want, which, like I said, I realize I'm very privileged and lucky in that. I feel like I just kind of learned last year too, which I've talked about this so much from UTMB, but I had like a long block without racing, and yeah, I think being able to like break it up with harder efforts, because you gain fitness from those too, I just like do a little bit better. But I also don't think I would do well if I was doing this like every month of the whole year. I still feel like I'm very good at like taking breaks from racing, and then when it's race season, I race. I think that this is also like a little bit more sustainable because the races that I run so far are like 8 miles and then 1 mile, and then it'll be like 13, which is a lot shorter than I also typically race. Yeah, and I've said it too, like after last year, I think one of the important things for me while building this schedule has been I wanted to be home. And yeah, I don't know, I feel pretty lucky that all of these things are close to home, and then even like my next 2 races are both of those I get to sleep in my own bed. Yeah, so I think it's good to use it for like training, for fun, because also that is kind of the whole point of racing. Racing is fun, and I enjoy it, and yeah, it's fun to like interact with people too. I think MK texted me, she was like, "You're running Silver State?" I was like, "Yeah, I signed up this morning." She was like, "Man, I've been waiting to sign up." I was like looking at the entrance list, and then I saw your name. She's like, "You ruined my win." I was like, "You never know, MK, just because you're pregnant doesn't mean you're not going to beat me. Anything can happen." So that'll be fun. I don't think this is really fair. Maybe. She has 2 little hearts pumping blood, so maybe. But I think the last time we raced was Marathon du Mont Blanc, and she beat me by a lot. So I don't think this is fair, but I'll even out the score.
Okay, so these races that are like lower priority or lower pressure for you, do you go into them with the intention of working on a specific aspect of your race or your running? Or do you just treat them the same as a race like Broken Arrow, where the goal is to just run as fast as you can at all costs?
I would say like maybe like there are things that I practice that will then help me have like a better time or a better result at those bigger races. So like Cerro Gordo, my goal for that was like, my only job, I kept telling myself, was like to eat all the calories I have. Like it doesn't matter if I want to. Like this is my job today. I have to eat these goos. And yeah, like sure, I could have gotten away with not doing it because it's an 8-mile race, but I also think that like makes it harder in a race like Broken Arrow to then like do my nutrition stuff that I need to do, especially when there are like way bigger consequences during a longer effort like that. And so yeah, I feel like stuff like that, or I don't think I go out like necessarily with that intent of practicing a weakness, but even like Marin Mile, it was good to practice like not going out in the lead, and just running that fast. So I think like those things just kind of pop up. Like I don't know that I'm necessarily going into Silver State with like, oh, I'm gonna practice this, but I feel like a lot of the times like those things pop up, or you learn, or you like shift something and you're like, got it.
Were there any surprises at the last 2 races that you like identified a weakness, or like were able to see, maybe gain perspective or confidence or anything like that?
Yeah, I think during Cerro Gordo, like a weakness was like in the middle, I could like look down the road and see that there was like no one close to me. And so like I kind of gave up in the middle and like stopped pushing as hard because I felt like comfortable where I was. And I don't think that is a good thing. Especially like when you're trying to get everything out of yourself. Like I would say overall I still had a good race, but there was a period where I kind of stopped trying so hard, and I don't think that's great, especially in more competitive races. Like you can't do that and still win. So
a little bit about Silver State, like what is the race, what are you excited about? Talk about the course a little bit, just kind of a preview on that.
I don't know the course, I haven't looked at it yet. I'm guessing it's 13 miles since it's a half, but hard to say. I don't know how much elevation gain there is. I do think it'll take me less than 2 hours, but I kind of just made that up and I haven't talked to Rick. What else about Silver State? I think I'm looking forward to it being 87 degrees, because even right now, I'm running at 12:30 because that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And I always say ABHT, always be heat training, even if it's on accident. Yeah, I guess I am excited that it will be hot and to practice that and drink all my water. I'm excited to try to kick my pregnant best friend's ass at this race. I'm starting beef. I might just go take her FK2s when she can't get him back either. Yeah, and like last year Jacob ran the half, and so I was there, and it's just like a fun hometown race, even though it's 30 minutes from where I live and Reno isn't home, but it's close enough. And I've run on those trails so much because of college. Not all of them, but like Evans Canyon. So, I don't know. I'm excited to go practice running fast. Oh, I guess one more thing about the mile, because I used to just make everyone at home that I was friends with run a mile once a year, because I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but when people find out you run, but they don't like know what kind of running you do, they're always like, well, what's your mile time? And I feel like it never had anything to say, because it's like, okay, I'm going to tell you a time from high school. That doesn't make sense. So then I started running the mile once a year, so it's like, oh, well, I ran 5:20, I ran 5:30. So now I have a time for the next year. I run in a 5:08, so I have an answer for all those people. Let me know in the comments if you like racing a lot, or if you'd rather it just be like a very few and far between experience. Yeah, and this has been another episode of Running Rants with Helen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.